Welcome to the SwimSwam podcast. I'm your host, Coleman Hodges. Joining me today, I've got a very special guest. You're going to want to tune into this. He is an Olympic champion in the 400-meter freestyle. He's a world champion, Pan-Pacific medalist, Commonwealth Games champion. He won like 17 medals at the World Junior Championships in 2013. That's what he really wanted me to start with.
That's it.
We've got Mack Horton on deck. Mack, how's it going, man?
Good. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely.
Also, I said to you before we started, please excuse my hair, but I'm going to say to everyone else as well, please excuse my hair because Melbourne's been locked down for the last 3 months. So I haven't been able to get a haircut in a while.
I said this to you before we started. I think your hair looks freaking awesome. But we're going to start with the here and now. Tell me about the last 3 months. You're in Melbourne. You've been locked down. What has that been like for you?
Honestly, for me, pretty normal. We've still been able to swim, which has been unbelievable. I cannot believe they let us in the pool. And it doesn't actually feel quite right because so many businesses are having to close, so many people are losing jobs, and we're just somehow allowed to swim laps up and down a pool, which obviously I'm super grateful for. But yeah, it feels super strange with everything that's going on. Just in the last couple of days, though, they've opened up lockdown, and so there's it's a bit celebratory, I would say. Everyone's very up and about.
Nice. That sounds pretty cool. I saw that they're having kind of like some sort of, let's see, an Aussie virtual relay blitz. Did you get to participate in that at all?
We did. It's really just time trials, though. Virtual is I don't know, maybe a bit of a stretch. It's really just time trials, and then we'll compare the times. Everyone did them on different days, like depending on which state you're in. And obviously, everyone did them under different conditions. Like in Victoria, there's a limit on how many people are allowed in the pool, etc. In Queensland, there's none of that. So they were able to race people. We were just doing one relay at a time. Which is essentially a time trial, but it's good to have the opportunity to suit up because really we've just been kind of living Groundhog Day for the last few months because all we can do is train at the moment. Can't travel to compete, can't travel to train anywhere, and obviously like nothing happens on the weekends because you're locked down, so it's just swim and live. So it's good to do something to mix it up a bit.
Yeah. I mean, how has that lifestyle suited you thus far? I mean, we're on like month 7 of this global pandemic. Well, at least in the US we are. I'm guessing you've been locked down for quite a while. How does, what is that like for you mentally, emotionally, of just swimming and living, like you said?
Initially, we've had 2 lockdowns here in Melbourne. We had like 2 waves, and the first wave wasn't as bad. Lockdown wasn't as bad, but we were out of the pool for like 8 or 9 weeks, which is the longest I've ever had in my career. Like I had 6 weeks after Rio. That was the biggest break I'd had up until that point.
Okay.
And so this was massive, and it was like probably a novelty at the start. It was kind of fun, but then as everything started to close, it's like, okay, there's nothing to do. I'm just like going to ride out this 9 weeks. And that was pretty flat and tough, I would say. I think, I don't know, it was kind of like an insight into maybe how normal people live. I'm not sure because like I'm so used to starting every day exactly the same way. And so it always puts me like in the same spot mentally. And like there were days during this lockdown, I was like, I don't want to get out of bed until like 11 or something. And then I wouldn't do anything all day. It's like, what am I doing? And then days where I'm super motivated. So it was like this roller coaster. I was like, maybe this is how normal people live, but I'm not sure. And then the second lockdown, we've been able to swim, so that's been great. And like for me, I love training and I love the routine and I love just kind of living my life around that, if that makes sense. So training in lockdown is like the dream for me, really. As long as I can see a few friends and I can maintain my routine, I'm happy.
Yeah. That I got you talked about, this is a normal person life is like, and it's like, holy moly, man, you really hit me. Because it's bizarre, it's like some mornings you get up and you're like, oh, 6 a.m. I'm gonna go for it. I'm going to the gym, I'm working out. And some mornings it's like, yeah, I'm not getting out of bed for what? It's like my desk is right there. I don't have to go to work. I don't have to do anything. It's like,
yeah,
for what?
It's crazy. And like, I still, as a swimmer, like I'm still working towards something. Like there's still something to motivate me at the end of it. Like there'd be people that would just, it'd be so hard. I can't believe it.
Yeah. And so you said you're used to getting up in the mornings and kind of getting your head in that state every day. Do you always train in the mornings?
Yeah, we do 6 mornings a week, Monday to Saturday, and then we do 3 afternoons, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So yeah, just on that morning grind, which I love. I'd rather have an afternoon off than a morning. I don't know. I'm sure there's many opinions out there in the swimming world that makes the most of your day, I think, if you swim in the morning.
How early are we talking? What time are your mornings?
Up at 5:30, at the pool by 6, in by 6:30. Is that early? I don't
know. I mean, I think for a swimmer, that's fairly typical. I don't know if I would want to do that every day personally, but that's why I'm not an Olympic gold medalist and you are.
Yeah.
So what time do you go to bed then? Because see, the thing for me was like 5:30. It's like that up at 5:30 to the pool by 6. Like that, I would always want to sleep till like 6:30 or 7 to get like 9 hours, or whatever. So what time do you go to bed then?
I set up a thing on my phone, actually. I can't remember what it's called, but like stops all notifications at 8, and like basically locks me out of my phone. And so when that happens, I try and shoot for being in bed within the next half an hour, so 8:30, and then I might read for like 45 minutes, an hour. So I shoot for 8 hours sleep, but then I have like luxury naps during the day as well of an hour, 2 hours, depending on how tired I am. So I can hit 10 easily if I want or need, really.
Yeah, that seems pretty good. That's nice. And so then, you said you'd rather have a day off. What does Mack Horton's afternoon off look like? How do you spend your time when you're not just getting buff and throwing down Ks?
Like if I have a weekend, I'll try and get down to the beach or something, go for a surf, go for a walk or a hike, or like anything on the water, which is crazy, like a sail or literally anything. If I only have an afternoon, it's probably just like a chill out at home, watch a movie, maybe like crunch through some uni or like life admin that has to be done. Yeah.
So that's that's interesting. Obviously, schooling there is different. I don't really know the system for it, but it's like you're 24 years old. I guess you're in university. How does schooling work for you? Just in terms of how much work you have each, I don't know, term. I don't know how that's broken up, but what does university look like?
I think I'm not across the US system, but I think it's probably more flexible in Australia. So for me, I'm at a university that offers like fully online courses. And because of that, there's no locked in like term or trimester or semester or whatever. So it can just tick around all year. And you can literally start a subject at the start of every month if that's what you want to do, or 2 subjects or 3 subjects. And so it's great for me because it's like super tailorable to where I am in the year, and like how tired I am or what's coming up. But it also means I can probably get through it faster than if I was doing like part-time with semesters, because I can go all year round. So like over Christmas, whatever, I'll still be studying. You guys don't have a big Christmas holiday, but that's our big holiday. So your mid-year, whatever equivalent.
Yeah. Interesting. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. And but even like normal university, like day-to-day student, whatever, like we don't have, like, obviously no college system, so it's not linked with sport. But they're still super supportive of people who are like competing at a high level or whatever. There's programs to support athletes in university in Australia. And you can still do part-time, whatever, university, and then be able to train and compete as well.
Nice. And so with that, do you have like a set date of like, okay, I'm going to have do you get a degree? I'm going to have a degree by this point, or, I'm just wondering, cause I don't know, or like, are you working towards something specific, or are you just taking classes at this point?
No, I'm working towards a business degree. I don't know when I'm going to finish. So to be honest, like I never look at how far I've gone or how much I have left. I was just like, yep, I'll just do one more subject and just keep chipping away at it. But yeah, I probably should figure out where I am and how much longer there is to go.
Overrated.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, that's pretty cool. Okay. Sorry. I'm nerding out. Let's get back to swimming, back to the real reason why we're here. So you're back to a fairly normal routine. What has training looked like for you the past few months? Have you been really grinding out yardage, or is it more, I know a lot of people here are kind of getting their toes wet first and then kind of building back into it. But what's your training group like, and what have you guys been doing lately?
We took it so slow after having the 8 or 9 weeks out of the water. Like our first couple of weeks, we might have been hitting, I don't know, first week would have been like 5 3K sessions or something, like nothing. And like 2-hour long 3K sessions, like a lot of scull, a lot of drill, just going so slow, getting a feel for the water, really building like our base skills, and making sure they're good before we slowly built up Ks. And that was, I think we were back in the water like maybe June-ish, maybe just before that. And now we're up to like 55K a week, which still isn't massive across 9 sessions. But yeah, these days I probably only get up to like 60, 65, I reckon. When I was 1500 Mack, I was like 75, which is still probably on the low end of 1500 training. So yeah, still like relatively low Ks, but we're definitely closer to where we were pre-lockdown.
Gotcha. Nice. Okay, sorry. I can't keep up with the news. I know you had maybe announced once, you're like, okay, I'm not doing the 1500 anymore. And you said when I was 1500 Mac, do you not intend to race the 1500 anymore?
Not really. Maybe for fun, but not like at a serious level. It was 2018 Com Games was probably my last serious one. I'd love to still be able to do it, but I think just as I've gotten older, my body isn't so inclined to the distance like events. It's gotten a bit bulkier, a bit stronger, and there's a fair bit more mass to carry through the water these days.
I mean, it seems to be working out fairly well as of late. You've come down in distance a little. You've gone a 200 free PB in the last couple of years. You helped you anchored that 800 free relay at Worlds to gold, right? You were the anchor on that one.
Yeah.
I mean, so it seems like it's going all right for you. You split 144.8 to bring the Aussies home to gold and the 8 free relay at last World Champs. Actually, I want to talk about that relay because that's one of the best races I've ever seen. I mean, there were 5 teams all just vying across 800 meters, until really you hopped in that last 100. Everyone was so close. What was it like when that race started and it was so close? What were you guys saying behind the blocks? What were you thinking as your leg was coming up?
I think we've spent a lot of time like trying to build, I guess, the camaraderie in that relay team. Like we do in Australia, we do national event camps. And so like they might get the top 8 or 12 200 freestylers together. Same with the 100 freestyle. But then also like IMers and stuff. So everyone has a chance to train with people in similar events, but also if it's a relay event, you have an opportunity to push each other, see where everyone's at, practice changeovers. And we've been doing that for a couple of years. And I feel like the momentum's just been building maybe since like 2017-ish. Everyone's really started to get into the 4x2. Like I remember like at club meets, everyone would be like, the 4x2, it sucks. Like so far, whatever. Everyone's always so tired. But everyone's really buying into it now, and everyone really wanted to be a part of it at that World Champs. And I don't know, I think we knew it was going to be close, but we also knew what we were capable of and still know what we are capable of as a team. And in terms of my leg, it's just like, I love the pressure at the end. Because you have no choice but to do it for the team. There's no hiding, there's no escaping. And it's fun. That's like the most fun leg.
Wow. That's
not many people would agree, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think the real racers would agree. And I think, it certainly seems like you kind of step up for that moment. I mean, it seemed like the 400 free at that meet was kind of a similar thing. Was like you weren't really on anyone's radar, but on the biggest stage, you just kind of stepped up and made it happen. How would you analyze that race?
I don't know if I've watched it. I haven't even watched the 800 free relay, to be honest. But like Australian relays, I think we won 5, 6, 7 at that. Like we won quite a few of them at that meet, which was our best performing relay meet since like the early 2000s. Everyone was just so into the team and so wanted to be a part of that team. And I remember because we select 6 people for the 800 free relay, as you call it. I call it 4x2.
Yeah.
And so when we do the heat swim, it's like we'll rest the 2 fastest, obviously, and then it's a swim off to see who wants to be in the final or who can get into the final, which is more intense, probably, I would say, than the final because everyone wants it that bad. Yeah. But that's great to have everyone wanting it that bad. That is, I guess, the base of the team.
That is really cool. And that's, I think, that speaks a lot to where it seems like Swimming Australia is at right now, which is in a good place. I'm going back to the 1500 for one more question. So you're not going to train for the 1500 and you're not going to race it seriously, but do you think, if you train for the 2 and the 4, you might throw a 1500 in there and have a really good result if you get more speed training?
Maybe more so the 800. The 1500 just takes so much work, especially with the times people are punching out at the moment. Like, you got to be 30s to even have a shot at the podium. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Greg and Romanchuk, they're just absolutely fanging it. It's unbelievable. And I love Greg. I'm so happy for him to be doing so well. He came and trained with me for like maybe 6 months or so before 2018 Com Games, which I think actually probably helped me realize that the direction my body was going, because our bodies are quite different and the way we swim is quite different. And it was just great to have like that feedback every training session of, this is example A, this is example B, this is how this handles this set, and this is how you handle this set. And to see how we both went through like a week or a month differently was really interesting. So yeah, I think that experience probably helped me come to that conclusion as well. But yeah, I really wish I could still do it, but swimming slow is not that fun, especially for 1,500 meters.
Simple as that. Simple.
Yeah. When you've got 15 minutes to think, geez, this is slow, you don't want to be there.
Which makes total sense, and that's a really interesting point you bring up. I just talked to Jordan Wilimovsky earlier today, who's one of the USA's top milers. He's like 5'8", 100. He's like my size. Greg Paltrinieri. I probably said that the most American way you can. He's Greg is on the smaller side, I think, and then you are how tall? Like 6'6".
I'm 6'3". I think Greg and I are probably the same height, but in terms of like weight, I'm like 90-ish kilos. He's like 70-ish.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, wow. I didn't realize Greg was 6'3". Dang. I think I've seen you from afar at swim meets, and you're just looming. You are a big dude. You have these massive shoulders, and it's like, holy crap. Like, you look like you should be swimming the 50 free. And
one day, I think, like at the rate it's going, I'm getting shorter and shorter and shorter. So like my 5th or 6th Olympics, I'll be doing the 53.
That's awesome. And so it's really interesting you say that you got that kind of feedback when you were training with Greg, and that's something I wanted to hit on. So I'm glad you brought it up. You guys trained together for a long time. What was the most epic thing you guys did? Because I know I was curious of like, man, these two distance powerhouses, they got to be just cranking out some crazy sets. I mean, was it you hear about when really good people train together and they just push each other every single day, and like sometimes their coaches have to split them up because it gets too competitive. Was it like that?
It was like that, and it was exhausting. Because like to get into that competitive mindset every day and to constantly be worrying about, I have to beat this person, it drains you so much. But it was so good. I'm trying to remember some sets. I don't know. I'm shocking with numbers and like remembering sets and times, but like classic 31s at like 1,500 pace on 130 or something, or faster than 1,500 pace. And Greg would beat me at that pretty, not like by a lot, but comfortably. But then we'd also do like more sprint style stuff or 400 pace stuff. So like maybe 850s on 45 or 400 pace. Or faster, and like 3 sets of that. And that's where I kind of got one on him. And it's just like comparing rates and stroke counts and stuff. Like my rate for like a 400 pace 50, like 35, 36 is like 45. again, with stroke counts, I'd be like 28, he'd be 40 something. So it's just so interesting to see how we both got to roughly the same point. And we kind of like met in the middle of the spectrum, that he could go this way and I could go this way. Yeah. And I think it's just the way our strokes and style and bodies are set up allowed for us to go those directions.
That is really interesting. Because Greg has such a unique stroke. The thing that stands out to me about is like he has this like cross kick when he swims the mile that I don't know if you've ever noticed it, but I find it funny because it's like that dude's going 14:30 and his legs look like this, but
I think it helps him. Like he's figured it out. It like helps his arm flow, I guess, because he puts more momentum into one side of the stroke.
Very scientific. That's a good way to put it. But he's certainly figured it out.
Yeah.
So, talking about training partners, do you have a specific set of people that you train with every day that kind of push you and help you get better?
We have a squad of 10, which I think is probably small by like the US standard. Obviously, no college system, so it's like you have to join a swimming club like you would join a sporting club anywhere. And yeah, there's no one that swims 400s in there or up. There's a few people that like touch the 200 but also do 100 more so. So I definitely have people to push me in terms of speed and 200 pace work. But like over distance, 400 pace, I'm riding solo at the moment. And I probably have for most of my life, except for when people come and visit and train for a bit. So I'm used to it and I quite enjoy it. Like I'm happy by myself. I'm happy to just focus on what I need to do. And I guess like just keep chipping away at times. Sometimes I think it's like if you have someone there to race, it's good for a bit, but it's also very easy to get caught up in what they're doing. And I think energy is better used focusing on what you need to do.
That's very interesting. Two takeaways there. One, you're happy training on your own because you can just focus on yourself, and that I don't think you hear many people say that. Certainly not.
Sounds
in swimming.
Super selfish when you say that.
I don't think that's selfish. I think well, as a professional athlete, you have to be selfish, right? I mean, It's like you're focusing on yourself. You got to do what's best for you, and so that makes sense to me.
Thank you.
Yeah, I mean that seems logical, but also it sounds like you're extremely competitive because if there's someone else, you're gonna want to beat him.
I wouldn't say I'm actually that competitive until maybe it only comes out at like certain points or certain times. Like I love a big meet where the pressure's on. But even then, I don't think I'm trying to beat other people. I think it's like, this is my time to see how far I can push myself with a bit of pressure in this environment. It's probably more so like the competitive thing is when someone is there to push you, I feel like it's assumed that you should be pushing each other, if that makes sense. Like there's a pressure to feed off each other. It's like, maybe I don't want that. Maybe I just want to focus on what I need to do. And you like, give me some goal times, or I know the times I need to go and I'll just try and do them.
Yeah. I mean, that makes sense. I don't think you come across, well, maybe this is not true, but I think it's a lot of people say it's a lot easier to motivate yourself when you have other people around you. And it seems like you're just very self-motivated. Yeah.
But then like in gym, I love having other people there to like alternate sets with and push them along to the same weight I'm doing. But I feel like it's more because I want to see them do well and I want them to like keep up or whatever. It's not. I sound crazy.
You're trying to convince me you're not selfish, and I believe you. I'm bought into it. No, I'm not to do what's best for them.
No, but I do. I want to see people do well.
I believe
as well
it.
as myself
100%.
because I'm selfish.
Yeah, absolutely. What kind of lifting? What is a gym session for you look like?
It changes throughout the year. So like at the moment, it's just pure strength, I guess. And then as we get closer to racing, we put in some power and speed to try and get the snappiness. That's pretty standard, I would say, like chins, bench, dips, squatting, and then like auxiliary exercise basically to keep your body in shape and stretch it out and work things that need to be worked to stay healthy.
So how much?
Go ahead. I know you go. I don't know what I was going to say.
All right, give me a number. How much are you squatting?
I've been doing front squats lately. I got up to like 100 kg. I don't know what that is in pounds or whatever. And back squats, I've just started doing this season, and I'm at 120 kg.
So 100 kg, that's 220 pounds front squat. That, to me, that's legit. I don't lift a lot, but I think that's legit. There's definitely more powerful and stronger people out there. Like when you get into the sprinting end of swimmers, they are so strong, particularly like around chins and stuff. I don't know. I can only do like 30, 35 kg. There's people that do like 50, 60. It's insane. Chin, like
pull up. Sorry.
With weight.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah. You started talking about weight, and I was like, wait, is he talking about chin ups or chins? But okay, yeah. Gotcha.
Yeah.
So speaking of sprinters, what do you think about the ISL? Break it down.
I'm all for it. Anything to, I don't know, shake up swimming. It's just been the same for so long, really. My one gripe with the ISL is I hate short course. I would love to see it long course, but I understand that short course is easier to swim back to back to back. It's easier to fill a stadium with people when it's a smaller pool. But yeah, it's great to see just something different in swimming. But I think still for me, like, the Olympics will always be the priority. So I did think about doing it last year, but it just didn't fit in terms of what we wanted to do to get out of the year. But this year was different because we haven't had the opportunity to race. So any opportunity to race, we were going to jump on. Like I haven't raced since January or February or something. And so we were going to use it as an opportunity to travel a bit and race, but obviously didn't happen this year.
Yeah. So that's a couple interesting things there. First being that you prioritize the Olympics as many swimmers across the world do, certainly as many swimmers in the US does. For you personally, why is that? Why are Olympics number one for sure for Mack Horton?
It's just it, like I think like growing up in Australia, swimming at the Olympics has always been so big, especially with Ian Thorpe, Grant Hackett, Kieran Perkins. Like it is it and a bit. So it's impossible to like get over that and get over the history of Australian swimming at the Olympics. Yeah.
That makes sense. And
Yeah.
I do want to diverge a little bit. You're an Olympic champion. You won Olympic gold in Rio in the 400 freestyle. I want your perspective on that race because it was a tight race. I guess there was as much on the line as any other race, but I remember watching that and just being so nervous because that was such a close race, and you came out on top. Take me through. You said you love pressure cookers. You love when the lights are on in those big meets. Your first Olympic Games, your first Olympic race. Did you feel confident? Were you nervous? Take me through your headspace at that.
I think like the day before, I was most nervous that I wasn't nervous, which is crazy to think about. I don't know. I felt so like complete and whole and confident, which is exactly where you want to be when you're about to race an Olympic final. And I think a lot of the lead up, obviously physically is getting ready for that day, but mentally being able to feel that on that exact day it's a massive part. And in terms of the race, it's like the Olympics is not, I would say, like a high performance environment. People are there to race to win. It's not like, obviously you're swimming as fast as you can, but really you're swimming to win.
Yeah.
And so I don't know, for the year, months leading up to it, we'd like had this race plan in our pocket that we always kind of practiced when we did like smaller club meets or state meets or what have you.
Okay.
And so by the time I got to the Olympics, it was like, I know exactly what race plan I need to swim. Based on who we think is going to be in the final and the way they swim it to win, if that makes sense. And so it was like, I think I turned fifth or something at the 200 or something, but I was like, this is chill. This is fine. I know exactly what I'm doing. And this is where we turn up the gas a bit, as we'd practiced over and over and over, and try and hurt everyone a little bit. Because we knew how people swim it. We knew who went out hard and overdid it, who had a back end, and where I had to position myself to be in the best place to challenge for that first place on the wall.
Sorry, I'm just soaking it in. I'm gonna have to watch this race now once we're done with this podcast because that's really cool to hear. And I've never heard someone talk about prep like that before. That's something you see in a movie. That's cool.
Maybe it's just like, why would you do something different or new in an Olympic final? Like, why wouldn't you do something that you've practiced over and over and over again? And you don't even have to think about it. You just know exactly what you have to do. Yeah. Keep it simple.
Keep it simple. Win an Olympic gold medal. There you go, kids. All right. So, I'm going to touch on this. I'm going to do most of the talking here. So we talked about this beforehand. You obviously have a history with Sun Yang, who you were racing in that Olympic final. You in 2019 you won silver. He won gold in the 400 meter free at World Champs. You didn't stand on the podium. Made headlines. You have whatever opinion you want on that. And then Sun Yang gets an 8-year doping ban. And I'm sure I have one question to ask you about this, and then we're going to talk about something else. What was your reaction when that verdict dropped?
Maybe like a bit of sadness, I think. Like I want the best for the sport of swimming. I want to race the best clean athletes there are. And I want swimming to be, I guess, like held in a light that is respected around the world amongst other sports. To, I don't know, try and push swimming as far as we can. Yeah, it was sad, I think.
Sorry, I'm taking it in. Not, that not the response I necessarily expected, but I think that's a really good answer. You're a cool guy. All right. So let's dive into you said currently you're training about 55K a week. What's a favorite kind of set of yours? Now that you're not 1500 Mack, you're going for more mid-rangey stuff. What do you really enjoy in training nowadays?
Anything 400 pace, really. Broken 400s like 850s or 150, 150, 100. And we might do like in a set 4 broken 4s in different ways. But also really depends on how I'm feeling. Like speed for me is so hit and miss, which is frustrating. And when it's there, I'm all for it. But when it's not, it is such a slog. But yeah, I love touching on 400 pace when it's good. I also, from my 1500 history, just love throwing on the biggest paddles I can find and just grinding laps. It's just so nice. We do this. Oh, this is a good set. The Minuteman. I don't know if you've heard of it. It's like 100 on 2 minutes, 200 on 3 minutes, 300 on 4, and you just keep going up as far as you can. So it ends up being like 1,000 on 11 minutes, 1,100 on 12 minutes. That's one of my favorites, probably.
How far have you made? Yeah, how far have you made it up the ladder?
I think I've made 1,100. I can't remember though. Some about there, yeah. Okay. Usually it's not often we do it as far as we can go. Like usually it's just go to 900 or whatever.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Big paddles, pull way in, go for it.
So you're someone who can just pull. Do you kick much?
Yeah, we kick. I think it's probably a lot, but it's good. Like every session we'd have a kick set, like after a main set, probably about a K of kick every session. Mm-hmm. And then we do like 2 main kick sets a week, and they're like 2.5K sets of kick. So yeah, I can kind of kick too, not as well as I can pull.
I think we all know swimmers who are really good at pulling, really good at kicking. You're a puller. I mean, that makes sense, I think. Okay, I don't want to keep you too much longer. But I have met a couple of your Australian teammates. I got to spend some time in season 1 ISL with Jack McLaughlin, Clyde Lewis. They're great guys. They had great things to say about you. If you were going to, like you said, you swim by yourself quite a bit, especially when you're doing 400 stuff. If you were going to train with someone in Australia for like a week or a couple weeks, who would you want to train with and why?
Jack's a pretty easy answer. Jack McLaughlin. We're good friends. He's we're like similar range in terms of 400, 1500. Mm-hmm. So we'd be pushing each other a lot. But also I did, end of 2019, I did a week with, you might not know the club, TSS, but they have a lot of open water swimmers. And it was like so many Ks. It was quite fun. Yeah, that's a good week. But if I was like a good week for a pre-season, I would say for me. But if it was closer to racing or whatever, probably Jack McLaughlin. So he goes hard. He goes real hard.
What you swam at TSS with open water swimmers? What made that so enjoyable for you?
Well, firstly, the sunshine. It's up on the Gold Coast in Melbourne, which is typically a little bit cooler. And it was just like so different to what I do. Like, even when I was doing 1500, it was so different to what I did. We did a set and it was like 2200s, one max, one mod, which is just like crazy. It was so hard.
That's a lot of 200s.
Yeah, it is.
Wow. Okay. So that's interesting. All right. So I'm gonna wrap things up here. It's been great talking to you, man. Moving forward in the next couple months, you know, obviously, you're an Olympic guy. You've got 2021 in your head. Moving through these next couple weeks, couple months, obviously it's a weird time for everyone. What are things looking like for you? Do you have any competitions you're focusing on? Do you even have competitions to go to? What's training looking like?
Ramping up training continually. And then I think towards the end of the year, there's like Queensland States, and we're hoping to get up there. But there's currently like border closures in Australia, so you can't go between states, but we'll see what happens in a month or so. I think there's also a virtual short course meet, but I love short course, so can't wait for that one.
Awesome.
And then like it's at the moment it's so hard to plan a year because you just don't know what's going to be open. But I think next year obviously there won't be any international travel until the big dance. So it'll just be like interstate state championships or maybe like a few training camps. But yeah, again, it's just so hard to know what's going to happen. And like we have plan A, B, C, etc. Because everything's changing so quickly.
Yeah. Okay. Last question. I promise. I forgot to ask this earlier. Why do you dislike short course so much?
Because I'm not very good at. Like I said before, swimming slow is not fun, and I think it's just like the way my stroke is. It's quite long. And like, I reckon I'm still accelerating by the time I get to 35 meters in a 50 meter pool. And so like in a 25 meter pool, it kills me. I just get moving and then I have to get going again. And it just wears me down so much. And also turns aren't fun. I'm coming from a 1500 background. It's just like, get me out of here.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Mack, thanks so much for sitting down and talking with me for a little bit. I've really enjoyed this, and hopefully things go well for you in the next couple of months and we can catch up sometime down the road.
Appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
You've been listening to the SwimSwam podcast. Stay tuned for new episodes every week. You can take SwimSwam podcast on the go by subscribing on your favorite podcast platform. Look for links in the description below, and be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel for more videos as well.